Good morning, guys. We are preparing for our field trip, which is on Wednesday, October 13th, through the lessons for this week and next week. So they're great lessons. Even if you're not going to be able to go on the field trip, they still meet a lot of the standards for math and social studies. So just another reminder about the field trip. Your parents should have received an email from me. Also, I sent it to you via Canvas message inbox. Um, there is a form that we have to have signed and filled out for you guys to go. Also, we're looking for some parents to come and help us out for the day. So if your parent can volunteer, they'll have to be at the facility and coming by 8 a.m. the morning of the field trip. You are welcome to go with them, but just realize you're going to be there an hour before the rest of us get there. Students that are riding the bus come over to Davis Middle School. We're going to leave Davis Middle School at 8:30 and we'll be back by 1:45 that afternoon. And so we're going to have a great day, good time of fellowship together, and we're going to learn a lot. All right, so today is day 2 of preparing for our field trip. So today we're going to talk about public goods and services. So what are taxes and what do they pay for? So if you want to hear an opinion about taxes, ask your parents, because everyone that works, we all pay taxes, comes straight out of our paycheck. All right, who pays for the goods and services we use? Think about services that everyone has the right to. So what are you thinking about? So you all have the right to an education, right? You go to school. So you're all in public school. Does your parents receive a bill for you guys to come to school? Nope. We ask that they pay for lunch if you are eating lunch in the cafeteria. There's a few fees, but overall, no, you don't pay for your education. What about a public park? If you go to a park and take a walk around the park, do they charge you for that? What about going to a library, a public library to check out a book? Does that cost you money? Mm-mm. So those are public goods and services. That's what our taxes pay for. So like I said, schools, public, that should be parks, not parts. Roads, so they are constantly making new roads and maintaining those roads. If someone in your house has an accident, you need to call 911. They don't send you a bill for that. If there's a fire, the fire department shows up, no one gets a bill for that, right? So this is all money that we all as citizens pay for all of these services. And that's what taxes pay for. These types of services are called public goods and services, just like you go to public school. You could choose to go to a private school, but your parents would have to pay for you to go to that school. Public school, you don't have to pay for. Everyone's taxes pay that bill for you. Imagine you get a job. I need to fix my typos. Imagine you get a job making $10 an hour and you work 5 hours this week. How much money would you make? Well, if you make $10 an hour and you work 5 hours, then it sounds like you're going to make $50 on your paycheck, right? That's what I would guess. However, you are going to have to pay 12% of that money to help pay for expenses at school, such as buses, electricity, Chromebooks, teacher salaries. So automatically out of every citizen's paycheck, 12% will come out to pay for education facilities for students that are in the community to go to school. So what is 12% of 50? Well, we're going to turn that percent into a decimal. So we're going to move our decimal 2 places to the left, 1, 2, and we're going to multiply $50 times 0.12. So let me multiply real quick. So 5 times 2 is 10. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 5. So I need 2 numbers behind the decimal. So 12% of 50 is $6. So $6 out of your paycheck is going to go directly toward educational costs. All right, so how much money do we have left? Well, if we started with 50 and they took 6 out, that means right now we have $44. So do we get $44 in our paycheck? Well, 10% of your salary needs to be spent to keep kids safe at school. So although you guys are at home, we have lots of kids here in this building and we pay a resource officer to be here at school every day. He's a certified police officer, and his job is to stay here in this building and keep our students safe. So someone has to pay his salary. So that would be taxpayers. So we're going to go back to our original amount, $50, and we want to know what is 10% of $50. Well, that'd be 0.10, right? And 10% of 50 is $5. So we had $44. Now we're going to pay $5. And what we have now is $39. So $39 are left in our $50 paycheck. All right. And that's what we just did. We took away 10% more of our original amount of $50, and we have $39 left. So before you're allowed to spend your money, 8% more must be used to help pay for older people's retirement and for insurance in case workers become unemployed. So once someone reaches the age of either 62 or 65, whenever they're not able to work anymore, the government sends them a paycheck. Well, guess who pays for their paycheck? The people who are still working. So we're going to go back to our original $50 and we're going to figure out what is 8%. So 8%, move our decimal 2 places up. So that would be 0.08. So 8 times 0 is 0, 8 times 5 is 40, and we have 2 numbers behind the decimal. That means $4 more of our paycheck is coming out to pay for retirement people to get a check from the government. So we had $39. They're going to take away $4 more. So what are we down to? We're down to $35. Now, that's how much we get to save, or actually we get to keep that, right? And we can do with it what we want. So when you go to work, you don't get that whole paycheck. You will automatically get taxes taken out of it. Now I did these one at a time, but really I could have added together all of our percents. I could have added together 12% plus 8%, which is 20%, and then 10% more than that. So 12% plus 8% plus 10% is 30%. So I could have just figured out what is 30% of 50, and I would see that that is $15, and I could have just subtracted $15 from 50 to figure out at one time I get to keep $35 of my $50 I make. Okay, but I just wanted to show you how without your choice, they don't ask you, do you want us to take out taxes? They automatically take out taxes. So when you get your first job, just realize that you're going to be paying taxes automatically. Your employer will set that up for you. All right, so we get to keep $35. So we've already done all of that. How much is left? So we know we get to save $35 from our paycheck. What are all those deductions called? They are called taxes. Taxes are payments that most citizens and businesses are required to make to the government to pay for goods and services. And we talked about those. Those goods and services are education, retired people's retirement, their checks from the government, so on and so forth. The money citizens earn before they pay taxes is called your gross pay. The money left over after taxes were paid is called your net pay. So there's a big difference between your gross pay and your net pay. If someone asks you, how much money do you make a year? And you say $50,000, well, there's a big difference between if $50,000 is your gross pay or your net pay. Because remember, your net pay is what you have left over after all your taxes have been paid. So when you guys go to Junior Achievement BizTown on our field trip, you are going to receive 2 paychecks while you're there. A modest tax of only 2%, that's a very low tax, will be deducted from each of your paychecks. You will record your net pay in your transaction register at Junior Achievement BizTown. So we're going to do an activity where you're getting money, and then you guys are going to have to decide how you're going to spend that money. Okay, but you are going to have to pay taxes on that money at Junior Achievement BizTown. All right, so this is a example of how taxes come in to your local government and also national government. So here in Georgia, we pay our taxes go toward both of those things. When you get your paycheck, you notice how much money went toward your state taxes and also national taxes. And so then what the government does is they take all of that money from all these taxpayers and they pay for the public goods and services like schools and public libraries and the fire department and the police department, public parks, those things that we were talking about earlier. And they have to decide how much of this money goes toward schools, how much of all of this money goes toward parks, how much of all this money goes toward our police and our firefighters nationally, how much of that money goes toward our military, a lot of different programs that our taxes pay for. All right, so in a free enterprise system, which is what we are here in the United States, we have a market economy. It's not pure market, but it's much closer to a market economy than a command economy. So in a free enterprise system, businesses sell goods and services to people. They are selling private goods and services. So if it's someone whose business that's not owned by the government, that means they're private goods and services. And so those people that own that business or those companies get to decide how much they're going to charge for either that good or that service. So goods and services that have a price, and that price may restrict some people from getting them. So is there ever something that you wanted and your mom's like, I'm sorry, honey, we can't afford that? Well, it's the price that the individual or those companies decided what they were going to sell it for, and it was their right to decide the price. That's part of being part of a free enterprise system. In some cases, you or I can receive goods and services that we cannot pay for, but we could receive them because of the generosity of others. So for example, if your family doesn't have enough groceries and your parents can't afford the groceries to feed your whole family, well, that means that other citizens have come together and they are helping feed families from their own resources. When citizens give of their own resources to help others in need or to increase the well-being of others, it's called philanthropy. Philanthropists often contribute things like parks, hospital wings, and libraries for public use. So if you've ever been to a hospital and they have a wing of the hospital called, I don't know, John Doe wing, that means that that family has probably given enough money to make that wing of the hospital, or colleges especially. A lot of buildings are named for people or families in colleges because that family gave enough money to have that particular building built. These are called philanthropists. All right, so we're going to watch a video about philanthropy.
Philanthropy. It's a pretty big word and an important one too. It comes from the Greek philo, which means friend. And if you translate it directly, it is love of mankind, or caring about your community. Philanthropy is about doing something with that love and care to make someone else's life better. Some people think it's about giving money to a charity, giving some of your treasure to someone else who needs it. Treasure isn't just about dollars. It could be a gently used toy, or a copy of a book you give to someone in need. That's part of it. But there are also two other T words that are just as important: time and talent. Giving of your time is a special one-of-a-kind gift because no one else can give your time away. Only you can. You could spend an afternoon serving lunch to kids who don't have enough food. You could play cards or share stories with folks in a retirement home. You might put together care packages to thank and inspire service members overseas. Or you could get to know Fido and help walk dogs at the local rescue center. Maybe you have a special talent. You're good at building things. Or you can convince others to join a cause. Anyone can be a philanthropist. Everywhere you look, there are opportunities to help. And in today's digital world, we can learn about what's going on down the street and around the world. We can connect and take action wherever we are. Think about it. You can donate a little of your treasure to help victims of floods or earthquakes in far-off lands. You can volunteer with organizations or inspire your classmates to make care packages when you notice a need. Even work virtually with others on the same goals, like an anti-bullying campaign or a clean water movement. When you share your time, talent, or treasure, it's like planting a seed. Before you know it, up pops a whole orchard. Your friends and neighbors see what you've done and they start planting too. They're smart. They don't want to be left out. Philanthropy truly does make the world go round. Without nonprofits and people who ask questions and seek answers, our society would be broken. Government and businesses can't possibly address all the issues, but philanthropists and givers of time, talent, or treasure can help fill in the gaps, and you have a role to play. From one little act of kindness, you can make an enormous difference. Oh, and here's the best part. Philanthropy is fun. Fun for those who benefit from your good work, and even more fun for you.
No matter what age you are, you can always help.
I want to be helpful to people. I want to be kind to them so that in the future that people can help me.
It's nice to see people giving back, and it's nice to know that you're part of that.
It makes me feel happy and good inside.
I like to know that people are getting a smile on their face because of the work that we've done.
All right, so hopefully maybe you and I can all become philanthropists, because that takes a special person to do stuff like that. All right, so moving on, let's talk about some goods and services in an economy have special characteristics. They are shared by everyone, often at the same time. No one is prevented from using the goods and services, and these goods and services must be paid for by everyone's taxes. For example, think about if there's an accident at your house and you call 911. Well, you're not the only one that has access to 911, right? So that service is shared by everyone, often at the same time. No one is prevented from using the goods and services. They're not going to call and say, I mean, if you call 911, they're not going to say, oh, I'm sorry, you live on Wilbank Street. You don't have access to these services, right? And it takes everyone's taxes in order to pay those bills for those ambulances, the fuel, the EMTs that are in the ambulances, all the maintenance, the IVs that they have in their ambulances, so on and so forth. All right, goods and services that everyone can use and everyone pays for are called public goods and services. Think of as many goods and services as you can. Which ones are public, like school, for example? Which ones are private? Well, school could also be a private service that your parents pay for if they choose to send you to a private school. And which ones could be either? So I just gave you the example of either. All right, so I want you to pause for a minute and I want you to think of as many goods and services that you would classify as public only, private only, or what could be both. So pause the video, think about that for a second, and then come on back. All right, so some of the things I thought about for public goods and services were libraries, fire departments, police stations, roads, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and government offices. So all of those are paid for by public funds, which are taxes. Some things that could be considered either schools could be public or private. Water, you might have access to a well on your own property. That would be your private water source. Or if the city of Beaufort or the city of Flower Branch provides your water, that is a public service. You will receive a small bill for that. Medical services could be either airwaves such as television and radio broadcasts. Also, animal shelters could be a public service or a private service. Someone might own their own vet, right? And then as far as private goods and services, banks, these are things that are owned and produced by private citizens or private businesses. Banks, malls, stores, restaurants, toy stores, phone services. The internet is considered private because you have to pay for that. The government doesn't provide internet for us. Television, radio, movies, and farms. Now, if you'll notice, not all, but most items on the public side are services, right? And most items on the private sides are goods. So you would go into a store and purchase something. However, if you call the fire department, they're not going to bring something to you. They're going to provide a service for you, which is putting out fires. All of the public goods and services are provided by the government. In a democracy, citizens elect the leaders of the government. One of the jobs of elected leaders is to decide how much is spent on public goods and services. Where do governments get the money to pay for these resources? Well, of course, that's our taxes. Taxes are required payments to the government to pay for public goods and services. Oh, and that's all I have. All right, you guys. So now you're going to take a short little simple quiz, and tomorrow I will meet with you on Zoom on Wednesday, and we'll continue our discussion about what we're going to learn at Junior BizTown. Everybody have a great day.